Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be discussing my May 2022 State of the Collection. I currently have a 3-piece collection. On my wrist you can see my San Martin SN020G, and in my Mirage Luxury Travel Roll I have 2 more pieces which I'll show you. On the left we have my Pagani design PD1727V2, and on the right we have my San Martin SN020G limited edition. Firstly, I want to give you an apology because when I reviewed my San Martin SN006G2, I forgot to do a wrist shot, so I'm going to be giving you a wrist shot in this State of the Collection video. I have 293 videos on my channel. Now, unlike many other watch channels, I do not edit out mistakes to appear flawless, I leave them in. So therefore, there are a plethora of verbal and visual mistakes in my 293 videos. But I decided to correct the mistake by giving you a wrist shot in this State of the Collection video, as you can see. So I'm absolutely delighted with the fit, the comfort level, the feel-good factor of this SN006G2. It really is the perfect proportion piece. I love the 39mm head of the piece. Now the thing to note is, although it's a 39mm, it has a 40mm bezel, so there's a slight bezel overhang, so it wears more like a 40, and the 20mm to 16mm taper is perfection personified. So of my 3 pieces, this is the king piece of my collection, and it's definitely my favourite. I absolutely love it. So I'll talk you through the other pieces I had in my previous State of the Collection video 3 months ago and why I sold them. I had a Rolex Submariner 124060, a WR4K Iron Watch RX8004, and a Seiko Dress KX SRPE 53K1. So why did I sell my Submariner? Well, a collector emails me offering €14,000 for the watch, and after much deliberation I decided to take the profit. I sold the watch and I banked the money. Why did I sell my WR4K Iron Watch RX8004? Well, it's a very similar piece to this SN006G2. They have the same case and bracelet, for example, and also the same top hat, double domed boxed crystal. I prefer certain aspects of this 006G2 to the RX8004. This has female pivoted end links. The RX8004 has male end links which don't fit as well. And also prefer this 2-button push San Martin clasp to the flip-lock clasp, which is Rolex style, used on the WR4K watch. So I decided to purchase this piece, which is an homage to the Tudor Snowflake Submariner from the 1970s, and I prefer it. I think that this is a better looking piece. I like the snowflake dial and the Tudor snowflake hands. I think it's just a better looking piece. The fit is superior with the female pivoted end links, and also I think the execution of the 2-button push clasp is superior. Now the other piece I sold, as I've detailed, was my Seiko Dress KX. Really like the watch. I wore it on my Hirsch Honey strap, which was camel grain, incredibly comfortable piece, very aesthetically pleasing, but I simply fancied a change, and the watch I fancied changing to was this watch on the right, my San Martin SN020G limited edition. Now I've previously reviewed both versions of this. This comes in a matte black version, a no date version, and prior to that it also came in a date version of this sunburst blue dial. So I reviewed the matte black no date version, and I also reviewed the date version of the sunburst blue dial. And I really like the sunburst blue, but I wanted a no date version, and I'm pleased to report that San Martin made one. This piece you're looking at here, which is the SN020G limited edition. And I think the symmetry is better without the date complication at 3. One thing I disliked about the previous 020G limited edition was the sighting of the date complication. With the PT5000 movement, I wasn't happy with the position of the date complication. So this solves that problem because we have perfect symmetry. The 9, 6 and 3 o'clock rectangle indices on the dial have perfect symmetry, and I really like symmetrical dials as opposed to asymmetrical dials with the date complication. So absolutely love this piece. Now one thing I really like is it has the same 4 micro adjustment hole 2-button push clasp as on my SN006G2. As you can see, the identical clasps are used. On the 36mm version of this watch, the SN021G, it uses a shorter 2-button push clasp, and that only has 2 micro adjustment holes versus this longer clasp with 4. And I'm often critical in my reviews of watches only having 2 or 3 micro adjustment holes. 4 is optimum because one can fine tune the fit to get the perfect fit. So I'll give you a wrist shot and you can see how that fits on my wrist. So something I really like about San Martin watches, and it's something I like about both of these pieces, the fact that they use the identical clasps. As you can see, they're interchangeable. There's no difference whatsoever between the 006 clasp and the 020 clasp, and they're both very well executed. So I'll give you a wrist shot of this one. Now again, this is another favourite piece, and often I actually find it difficult to choose between the 3 pieces because I enjoy wearing all of them. They all give excellent feel-good factor, comfort level, and just outstanding fit. 39mm head of the piece, and again we've got the perfect 20mm down to 16mm taper, which is perfection personified. I love the taper on the lugs, 20mm lug width, and the fit again. Female pivoted end links gives a superior fit to male end links. The boxed top hat crystal has a beautiful distortion to it when one tilts the piece at an oblique angle. And it's something I really like about both pieces. I like the boxed top hat crystal on this SN020G limited edition. It's very similar in profile to the boxed top hat crystal used on my 006G2 you're looking at here. So I really like the distortion one gets. One doesn't get that with a double dome sapphire crystal, or alternatively a flat sapphire crystal. With a boxed top hat crystal, it gives it that characteristic distortion. It's rather like a plexiglass crystal that Rolex were using on their Submariner in the 1970s. So I absolutely love that characteristic. And this one has it as well. When I tilt the piece at an oblique angle, you can see that distortion effect. Now it's double dome rather than single dome, so therefore it has a curved underside to the sapphire crystal rather than flat. So it doesn't have the magnification effect of an acrylic crystal, which is single domed and flat on the underside. I like that it's double domed because that reduces the magnification effect and the distortion. And of course both pieces have clear AR coating. So excellent. I like both of the watches, and I highly recommend both of them to you for your consideration. Now the thing to note is they wear very differently. These are both 39mm head of the pieces, but as you can see on the left, the 020G, on the right, the 020G looks smaller because it doesn't have that 40mm bezel as per the 006G2. So this wears more like a 40, this one does wear like a 39, but I really like the tapers on the lugs. One thing I really like about this 006G2 is it's got that nice bevel machined on the edge of the case, which marks the transition between the tops of the lugs and the flanks. And it reminds me of a vintage Rolex piece such as the 5513 or alternatively the 14060M. They had that characteristic large bevel machined on the edge, which is mirror polished, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Now this 020G doesn't have it, it just has a sharp edge which marks the transition between the top of the case, which is brass satin finish, and the mirror polished flanks. As you can see, it's just a crisp sharp edge, which is very aesthetically pleasing, but I personally prefer the large bevel which is machined on this one. I think it's absolutely gorgeous the way it catches the light. So different pieces, both 39, both very comfortable, and they feel very good to wear for long periods of time, such as 8 to 12 hours per day. Right, so I'll show you, this is another one I absolutely love wearing. I previously fitted this Bonetto Centurini rubber strap with a curved end to my Pagani design PD1644, which also had a white dial, but it had a black ceramic bezel. And I suggested to Pagani Design they make this watch. They make a stainless steel bezel version of the PD1644 rather than the black ceramic, because I like the look of the white dial of the 1644, but I think it could be further enhanced with a stainless steel bezel. So they did that. Now, there are 2 versions of this white dial version. They have the V1, which has black pushers and a black crown. This is the V2, which has silver pushers and a silver crown. So when Pagani Design showed me the design of the V1 with the black pushers and the black crown before they put it into production, I said to them, it's a good looking watch, I like the stainless steel bezel, but the one thing I dislike is the use of black pushers and a black crown. Yes, they do complement the black hands on the subdials and the main black hands, but I said it would look better, it would complement the silver stainless steel bezel if you made another version, this V2, with silver pushers and a silver crown, and they decided to make both. So they made a batch of the V1 first with the black pushers and black crown, and then after they made this one, the V2. And this is definitely the better looking version. So I removed the Bonetto Centurini strap from my white dial PD1644, and I fitted it to this 1727. Now, as you'll know from my previous reviews, I have a large 8-inch wrist, and this Bonetto Centurini strap, which is actually made to fit Rolex watches such as the Submariner, is a fraction too short without this link. So I removed one link from the 1727 bracelet and I fitted it, and then that just extends the 6 o'clock side of the strap to fit my 8-inch wrist to perfection, and I'm able to use the Pagani design clasp. As you can see, it's a perfect fit. So as you can see, it fits very well. Now, there are 3 micro adjustments inside the body of the clasp. Now, the one thing I want to explain is, on the 1727 bracelet, it has a 5mm EasyLink style extension with a spring bar, and it's a bad design because there is only one slot in the milled EasyLink style extension, and I've removed several of these, and without exception the spring bar disintegrates when you remove it, and you can use it to adjust the 3 micro adjustments. There's 3 dimples in the body of the clasp, but when you actually try to remove the EasyLink from the body of the clasp, the spring bar often falls apart. Now, I was able to successfully remove this one, but I didn't use it because they're very unreliable. I fitted a 16mm spring bar, and that actually works very well inside this Bonetto Centurini strap. Now, there are lines on it, you can cut it down to length, and as you can see, there's plenty of holes in it to get the perfect fit, but I use it in the middle of 3 micro adjustment holes on the end hole in the strap, and that fits my 8-inch wrist. So I'll give you a wrist shot, and you can see how it fits my 8-inch wrist. Nice positive click. So as you can see, with the extra link added, it means that the body of the flip-lock clasp sits in the centre of my wrist. Without the link, it pulls it too far to the 6 o'clock side. I like the clasp to sit centrally on my wrist. Now, I like to size my bracelets and straps loose so I can always slide an index finger underneath the bracelet and clasp at all times, and that allows for wrist expansion in warmer weather or when one is active. So as you can see, this is a nice loose fit, it's comfortable, and the curved ends, although it's made to fit a Rolex Submariner, it does actually fit the 1727 case very well, as if it's tailor-made for the watch. Incredibly lightweight piece to wear on the rubber strap, very aesthetically pleasing, and I think the black rubber complements the black hands on the subdials and also the main hands. As you can see, it's just the perfect balance. We've got the contrast of the black against the dial, and the complements the black strap, but the silver bezel complements the silver pushers. I think the V2 is better looking than the V1, so very comfortable to wear. And it feels very lightweight. It has the feeling of being a weightless watch, and it's very low profile due to the flat stainless steel case back. Proportions are outstanding, and I think it's better looking on the rubber strap. Now, I have suggested to Pagani Design that they actually make rubber straps like this. Straps like this are available on AliExpress, but unfortunately I bought one and they're slightly too short. The proportions aren't correct. Really, to fit a 7 to 8-inch wrist, the 6 o'clock side to this integrated rubber strap needs to be 60mm, and really often they're too short. So the one I purchased, which is very similar in look, it actually was significantly shorter, and this is something that Pagani Design need to get correct if they're going to produce it to make it long enough without having to fit the additional link. But I suggested to the factory they make this, and they're currently considering this because they already make curved end rubber straps for their PD1661, which I previously reviewed on the rubber strap, but they have the buckle and tang rather than using this, which is the flip-lock clasp. So I showed them pictures of this, both my 1644 with this fitted and also this piece, the 1727, and they liked it. They think that it's a good innovation and a good alternative to the buckle and tang version they offer on the PD1661, so I'm hoping they make it like this to fit the 1727 clasp. Now there's something else I want to bring to your attention. This link, although it does look visually similar to the 1644 link, they're actually slightly different sizes, because I had a 1644 link fitted to the end of this rubber strap, and I tried to fit it to this 1727 clasp, and the dimensions of the 1727 links, they're slightly slimmer, and also the internal dimensions of the 1727 links are slightly narrower than the 1644. So although the bracelets look the same and the clasps look the same, they are actually slightly different. They've redesigned the dimensions of the 1727 bracelet. Now I'm confident that a 1727 bracelet will fit a 1644 head of the piece, but that's something to bear in mind. The links are not interchangeable, so I had to remove the 1644 link and fit a 1727 to get it fitted to this body of the clasp, which is from a 1727. So absolutely gorgeous piece, and I really like it, and it's nice to have the variety of these three pieces, to have the option of wearing a white dial chronograph, a black dial dive watch, or alternatively, as a daily wear piece, I've got the option of a black dial dive watch or this blue sunburst style daily wear piece. So really good variety. Now I have experimented over the last 24 years of watch collecting. I've owned many pieces, and at the peak of my watch collecting I had a 12-piece collection, and over the years I gradually scaled it down from 12 to 9 to 6 to 3. And then finally I thought I would just wear one watch every day of the week, my Submariner 124060, and I experimented with a one watch collection for some time, but I actually found it boring to wear just one watch 7 days a week. And what I used to do, so to avoid getting bored of wearing a Submariner every day, one day a week, Sundays, I didn't wear a watch at all, and then I'd put the watch back on a Monday, and it felt like it was brand new again. And that did relieve some of the boredom of wearing the same watch 7 days straight, but then I found that it just wasn't enough choice, there wasn't enough variety, and I found wearing a black dial dive watch every day very boring. So I decided to buy another two pieces. So I sold my three watches, the Rolex Submariner, WR4K Iron Watch, and my Dress KX. And then I purchased these watches, and it took me some time to get the three-piece collection together, and I'm really pleased with it. I'm happy with what I've got now. White dial, black dial and blue dial respectively, and very different pieces, dive watch, chronograph and daily wear piece, and it's nice to have those options. So which is the favourite piece? Well, it's impossible to choose. I actually like all three pieces equally. The blue sunburst style on this SN020G limited edition is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way it changes from an electric blue colour in direct lights to a more dark blue, like a royal blue colour in low light conditions. This white dial is absolutely beautiful because the black hands contrast very well with the matte white dial. And although it lacks AR coating, it's just gorgeous the way the white dial catches the lights. I really like it. I'm delighted with this piece. I think it's one of the greatest Pagani design watches ever made, and it's enhanced by wearing it on the rubber strap. This is the king piece of my collection, and if I had to choose one piece, I would say this is my favourite. I absolutely love the Tudor Snowflake Submariner. It's a watch that I would like Tudor to reissue, rather than the Black Bay 58, the Black Bay Heritage and the Black Bay 41 respectively. I think this Snowflake Submariner design is iconic, and I would love to see them release it in 39mm with a 40mm bezel like this. So as a substitute for that, the Snowflake Submariner, I think this is a very good homage to it. I also owned a Steinhardt Ocean 39 Marine Black, which was an homage to the Snowflake Submariner, but it has a date complication and a Cyclops magnifier. And I did like the look of that with the aluminium bezel insert, but the thing I disliked about the Ocean 39 Marine Black is the fit of the case. I'll just put this on the wrist again and explain it. With the Steinhardt Ocean 139 series, the proportions of the case are very good. But the thing I dislike about all Steinhardt watches, the 42 and the 39, is they have straight flat lugs. And the problem with them is, the straight flat lugs give an abhorrent gap underneath the ends of the case, even though they use female pivoted end links like these. So one gets a gap underneath the end of the lugs. They're straight and flat. Now on this SN020G2, you can see the underside of the case curves, and the lugs have a more curved profile than the Ocean 139. So with the female pivoted end links, it curves around the wrist. There's less of a gap, and therefore it doesn't feel like it's floating. It's not sitting on the case back. The case, the head of the piece, feels like it's wrapping around the wrist. So this gives a superior fit to the Ocean 39, and although I like the look of it, I was never satisfied with the actual fit of the case on my 8-inch wrist. I am satisfied with this SN006G2 fit. I think the fit is fantastic. And same applies to my SN020G, which I'll show you again. The fit is something that's very important to me, and it's often a reason subconsciously why I like wearing certain watches more than others. Now, my Submariner 124060 did have a good fit, but that actually does have quite flat undersides of the case, and the lugs are quite straight, although not as straight as on an Ocean 142 or 39 respectively. Again, you can see the curved undercuts to the case and the curved profile to the tops of the lugs is enhanced by the female pivoted end links. It pulls the end of the bracelet down snug to the wrist, and that's something that's better done. I dislike male end links used by Rolex. For example, on my Oyster Perpetual 41 and on my Submariner 124060, the male end links don't give as good fit as female pivoted end links, which articulate better. So nice snug fit to the wrist, and this is something I really look for, because subconsciously I find I like wearing watches more if they give a good snug fit to the wrist. They feel comfortable, they feel weightless, and they just feel more bespoke and tailor fitted to the wrist. So I'll just give you some more wrist shots of this SN006G2. The fit of this watch is one of the best fitting watches I've ever experienced. And bear in mind, I've reviewed over 250 watches on my channel. Several of those were 39mm pieces like this. But this is one of the greatest fits of all the watches in terms of comfort and feel-good factor. It just cannot be surpassed. It's absolutely sublime. Everything about it, the proportions of the 2-button push clasp, the 20 to 16mm taper of the bracelet, it's just fantastic. I absolutely love the fit. So this is my favourite. Difficult to choose between the 3 pieces, but the king piece in my collection, this one is my favourite of the 3. So I hope you've enjoyed my discussion of my state of the collection. Please feel free to post your own comments below the video. Thank you very much.